Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome to the live premiere of the first ever TAS of A Link Between Worlds. In 3, 2, 1,
Good.
go!
Alright, here it is.
This is exciting.
Oh shoot. Good enough.
Boom! Alright, perfect. So, this TAS, the majority of it is pretty much the same as RTA route, like the general route in dungeon order. However, inside the dungeons and a bit of the overworld movement is quite different. At the beginning, unfortunately, we are forced to have a save at the weather vane. But interacting with it gives us a warp point for later, so it's good anyway. A little about the TAS. It took me around 2.5 months to make. I started in early April and finished 2 days ago in late June-ish, or mid-late June.
First part's boring. Just
Yeah,
like
it's
RTA.
a lot of text boxes.
Yeah.
This was my first ever TAS, and this is like the very beginning of it. And right on that staircase, I realized that the circle pad is off center a little bit. So holding straight up on the Y direction makes you go up and left a little bit. So you have to hold up right to go straight up. It's really strange.
Yeah. Passing on 3DS is not easy.
Yeah, it used to be a lot harder though. Early this year or late last year, I believe, someone added support for it in BizHawk or something. So it's a lot easier than it used to be. And you can see my movement improve throughout the run. I get faster.
Yeah. So coming up, we got our first little trick. We're gonna use a damage boost by jumping off a ledge and getting hit right after to change his momentum the other way. So we're setting it up here so the bird hits us right at the cave entrance over the rocks, like that.
Yeah.
And now we're in a part we're not supposed to be in yet.
Manipulating RNG in this game, I learned, has to do with Link's position when an enemy dies, and a couple other things, and the initial tick of the 3DS, which I think is like what tick you start the game on or something. I don't know. But those are the only things that really affect RNG.
And then we got this volcano cutscene, which activates the Ravio, the second Ravio, which we'll see later why it's the second one. There'll be two of them.
Yeah. We just take some damage boost here to speed up dying.
Yeah.
Because we're kind of far from our house and we want to get back.
That weather in for later for teleporting to Tower of Hera. Closest point.
Get ready to split.
Shoot. That's fine. Sub 4.
That was like a 357 or something.
I'm not locked in.
In this Ravio, he gives you one item for free if you can't afford it. So we buy the most expensive one, which is Fire Rod. And it helps us speed up the next part And we also get bow so that we can actually beat the first dungeon. And we need 10 rupees for bow, so it's pretty easy to get. At this part, you unfortunately have to talk to the guard and take a little bit of time to set up the sword quest line so that we can use our sword. And using a sword is the only way to get into Sanctuary. And you need Sanctuary to get the lamp.
And the lamp allows us to use items, because right now you can see, or you will see, that there's no items use slot thing in the bottom screen. And once we get the lamp, you'll see it appear.
Even though we have rented the bow and the fire rod already, we can't use them until we get this little Sanctuary item unlock cutscene.
Yeah.
Not much you can do to speed up the run early game, so splits aren't going to be too impressive, probably. Actually, I've never compared this run, so I don't know how much time it's going to save, so I'm seeing for the first time as well.
I mean, sub 4, Death Mountain is still pretty good.
Yeah.
Lantern? Yep.
And then you have to wait to actually use it, so I just break some pots. In this room, you see me do a little stutter step after the next rat we kill. Like right there. And that is because if I just kept walking, the rat wouldn't drop anything for some reason. And RNG in this game is really, really finicky. And you have to walk around after you kill something to manipulate what it's going to drop.
Clean boss. Mini boss.
That's what holding the opposite direction every frame looks like. He just kind of looks around weirdly. Nothing cool. Sadly. Sadly, no A Link to the Past, like moonwalking stuff.
Rip.
Boom!
7:30. Wow.
I was watching the stream, so I was delayed. Unlucky.
Here's where you see the second Ravio appear. So now we got the second version of Ravio, and now we have the first one.
This is the third version of Ravio, right?
Something.
I think the second one only sells you a bow, but then after you like use the bow, you get the full Ravio shop.
And first we have to talk to him a lot. More text boxes. We get just enough rupees to buy the tornado rod, which will allow us to do many things. Like getting onto walls.
Rupees are very important in this run, so we have to go get some rupee chests later. But I also manipulate as much as I can from enemies.
But once you get to like Lorule, they're useless. Rupees.
Yeah.
I don't know why the split is like that, but whatever.
Up here is the first difference from the regular run.
The triple fire rod boost. It's Similar to the crow boost, but we're just using the fire rod. You jump off the ledge and then get hit immediately. To jump in spots you're not supposed to be able to.
It saves having to do a little arrow puzzle and then have to watch a cutscene after. And Skitten actually found it, like right as I was doing that part.
Yeah, I was this little like pacer.
I think it's maybe a second faster.
Yeah, it's
Not
not
much faster.
not worth RTA, and it's a little bit harder than like that second one.
Yeah. I have to get this fairy room because I'm I'm not very good at manipulating RNG. So I got it just to be safe, and it worked out in the end. But it does lose a bit of time. And in this room, you can start charging the sword slash as soon as you step onto the button to save just a little bit of time.
Million
I think it's
rupee,
1 frame.
rupee collection.
Yeah. You got all 4 rupees in that room without losing a beat.
Nice fall off.
Let me do a quick equip cancel on this bow to get further.
And here's the boss key skip. Use this armos to end its ability frames to have him push us horizontally, and then we use tornado rod and it pushes us over the wall.
Yeah, usually runners do that in the corner, but I can just line it up on the side of the wall.
Yeah.
Haven't said this yet, but we are comparing against the most recent world record by Thunderbolt set maybe a week or 2 ago.
Yeah.
It's not published yet, but it is still there, and there's splits for it, so we got them to compare.
Our fastest comparison.
I do have to use sword more in that fight because I run out of stamina 1 cycle earlier than regular RTA. And we skip this rupee on the right to go do balcony skip, and that saves a ton of time. But we also are 100 rupees down, so we have to get them from a different place.
Little merge skip there with that tornado rod. Try to avoid merging because it's about a second, 0.5 merging in and 0.5 merging out, I think. Try to avoid as many merges as you can.
Yeah, that one in particular doesn't save a lot of time because you have to equip the tornado rod, which takes a while.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot to split.
Don't skip it, man.
It's too late.
I'm not gonna know.
I'm gonna accurately split everything else.
Okay, focus up.
Yes. Also, that split was like messed up. Gold.
What?
The gold was messed up.
Oh.
Yeah, that is. Wait, that's sub 13 easily. That's crazy.
I think it was like a 13:30 or something, or 12:30. This next part is just walking and talking, so not much time saved, unfortunately.
Yeah.
We do gain a bit of time in this shop, I think. It's either this shop or the next one. I think it's this one. Because Thunderbolt buys the hookshot early in his run, which takes extra time. We buy it later on, so we're gonna lose time to that later. But we gain time now. It evens out in the end though.
Yeah.
This Irene cutscene trigger is just a straight line across the bridge. So we go to the very left side to start it as soon as possible. And the bell allows us to warp to all the weather vanes, which is a very good item in speedruns.
Very helpful.
Yep.
Why we will in the next weather vane, by the witches later.
We're going up here to activate a little storyline, quest line thing to get the dash and the flippers. They're kind of tied into the same quest, so we just have to go to one spot. And we merge through this transition, so we don't have to talk to the Zora that was waiting for us. If you merge out in that room, he talks to you. And we just dodged some crabs.
Usually in RTA runs, we skip this next 100 rupee, and instead we get the one on the balcony, but since we skipped the balcony, we have to get this one. It still ends up being faster doing this, so.
There is a backup rupee in Hera that saves around 5 seconds to this one, but we do a different Hera route, which saves more time than getting this rupee loses. So it's more optimal to do the new Hera route with this rupee, but it's not really RTA viable.
Yeah.
Get the split ready.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Nice.
So Pegasus boots allow us to do multiple things. Obviously we can run with them, move faster. But also we can do these dash slides, which you're about to see right here. It allows us to slide over small gaps because you have a high horizontal speed and you're able to travel. you lose less airtime. That's how I would say.
Yeah. And you're about to see an abnormally large dash slide coming up.
Yeah.
But that one only happens once. It's really specific because the railing's weird or something that you're able to dash over a gap that big. Hera is pretty quick, like all the tricks are. So I'm gonna start explaining. If you hit something hard, I guess, it bounces you off sometimes. And if you're over a void or like a not floor, when you do that, you get bounced up. And then if you get hit, you get knocked back in that state. So you do that to skip having to walk around in that room and merge around.
In the next room, we're gonna do a bomb rod, which you're not supposed to be able to go up rooms with just a tornado rod because he's inactionable. That's how they affect that. But if you get hit by a bomb, you become actionable, I guess, and it allows them to go up a room, boost them up enough vertical.
Mm-hmm. And now we're just waiting for our stamina to come back. Earlier, skipping the early Ravios made it so that we can't see our stamina bar, but like you can still know when you're out because you can't use items. There I made I don't even know what it is, little beetle guy walk up to me to take some damage, and it interrupts the tornado rod and doesn't use any stamina, but it still gets you the height you need to get up that floor, so it saves having to wait for a tornado rod.
Good buttons, fam. Might be a little loud.
Yeah. Skitten found this Hera route as well, and it didn't initially save time until the final floor, where we learned that you didn't have to wait for more stamina to use a fire rod or a tornado rod, and instead you could just hit the pink guy, and it makes you do a little jump, and you jump up, so it saves some stamina. And then we just wait for stamina on the hammer. That's why we're just goofing off there.
Yeah. Moldorm?
Yeah, using bow does twice as much damage as using swords. You want to bow him, and then you can hit him with sword once, and it doesn't change his cycle at all. But it gives us more stamina because we have to hammer back up. Do you want to explain the reason we're falling?
Yeah, it allows us to fall, like, you're about to see right here. Yeah, we fell during that cutscene. But it saves time jumping off when it's not in a cutscene. And then we just skipped the getting the heart and waiting for the pendant cutscene as well, and that saves.
Mhm.
We'll see something similar in Gales with unloading a room and loading it to skip the heart.
Yeah. In this part, we're finishing our flipper quest, and bomb rods usually don't give you any vertical movement. It was just up and down.
You mean horizontal?
Horizontal, yeah, just up and down. But this room, there's a weird slant on the pillar that you get on top of with a bomb rod, so it pushes you onto the floor above, allowing you to skip a cutscene. There's a cutscene trigger at the top of the stairs, and doing this little bomb rod here skips it, which saves around 30 seconds.
And I forgot the Hera split. I was admiring it too much.
Yeah,
Hera was just beautiful.
Hera saves a ton of time, because normally runners play it decently safe, because it is one of the hardest dungeons in the game. And we do a even faster route than normal, so it just saves it plenty of time.
Yeah.
Get your split ready.
Yep.
Yep.
Boom.
Whoa!
22,
huge
33.
gold.
That's like a Hera exit for me.
It is relatively slow in this part, like early game, but as soon as we get into Lorule, it starts speeding up exponentially.
Like a dungeon rush.
Gales, I need 150 rupees after Gales, so I get a blue rupee there. By only hitting those 4 pots, it gives me a blue rupee. Then we get hit by the rat, because it doesn't really lose time. It doesn't lose time.
And in the next room, we're gonna do a tornado rod like in the air. If you fall off a ledge, you can use an item for about you can use it for a couple frames, but you need to use it in the first 2 to get enough height there. Allows us to get on that platform.
Mhm.
Skip the waiting in that room, the auto-scroller part. And
Here,
right there.
yeah. I pull the bomb as early as possible, so I can tornado rod and still tornado rod up into the little gale, I guess. And it allows you to be actionable during a cutscene.
And we can get that small key there because it's above the little metal hole sticking out of the wall. You get the perspective in the game, the way the camera works. Put it up more to make it look actually on it. Which just allows us to put the rod straight under it and get it. The
Yeah.
not intended way.
Get a couple more rupees there so that we have enough by the end of the dungeon. And then we walk around that little hole on the opposite side that runners do. I didn't even know that was possible, but I guess you can if you're precise. Another dash slide, and then we have the boss.
Pack of pancakes.
Whoa! The strat for Margot Mill, which is his name, is to just use a bomb and then spin slash. So you only have to hit him twice per layer. And then when he's out of layers, you just throw bombs at him. Then I hit him on the first frame he's vulnerable, and then the bomb hits him on the first frame he's vulnerable after that. Or I think usually the bomb hits him first.
I'll turn down the game a bit. Seems a little loud.
I think it's fine.
Really?
Maybe like a decibel. And we want to, on this phase, we want to kill him pretty low so that we can tornado rod on top of him for a skip right here.
Yeah, the platform conveniently slides out at like pretty much the exact time you can stay up in the air from a tornado rod.
Yeah. We land on the railing there just to land sooner. Probably saves like 2 frames. Get the split.
26:39.
Did you split?
Yeah.
Oh, you did. Okay. Dude, I'm schizo. I didn't see it. Then we have more cutscenes.
Yeah, we got the entire Lost Woods.
I don't collect any hearts and gales because I don't need to, because the Master Sword heals you to full. And for the final puzzle, there's not much of a puzzle. You just go down. But after this, it gets a lot quicker because instead of having to pause to equip, we get quick equip from Ravio, which allows us to do equips on the touchscreen without affecting the game at all, without pausing. And TAS takes advantage of this because we don't have to focus on 2 things at once like runners do when quick equipping.
Hey!
And here's the Ravio shop that we lose a little time to because we have to buy the hookshot and the ice rod. But we're not losing like real time. It's fake time, kind of.
Here's quick equip.
What a hero. And this also allows it to be viable to quick equip the same item. So in the fire rod thing, we had to equip off the fire rod and then back onto it to use it again. But with quick equip, you don't have to do that, and you can just click on the quick equip button and it cancels the rest of the item's animation, and then you can use it again right after without equipping anything else. And we use that in like one of the first rooms of the actual castle.
But first we have to go to this weird part of Hyrule Castle. Weird floating guards. Right now we're in like the state of Hyrule Castle at the start of the game. But the music right now and the guards is what happens when you're in the part before Lorule.
Yeah, here you can see the only inputs that were actually done by me and not typed out. That's why it looks so geriatric, placing the pin down. But I do it with TAS later, so it looks a lot faster.
Very nice Zelda cutscene.
Really shows a lot.
Oh, this is a charm.
Is that the charm that does something? Or is it the other one?
That's a placeholder. But yeah, because we wouldn't have been able to get the Master Sword. Really.
This guy, he walks away at the same speed you walk at him.
Yeah.
So you can just walk straight at him, and he backs off. This boss fight, you have to shoot arrows in between your sword slashes, so that he doesn't block you. He's like an interesting pattern. And here you see the quick equip ice rod on the top guy. And the quick equip bow.
Just like Eastern Palace, we use another armmost to get on this wall. And we're doing it on the left side, which is not done in RTA. It's definitely harder than it looks.
Back to cutscenes.
Yep. And in the next room, we're gonna use a niche trick called it's another balcony skip, and it technically it might lose a couple frames, but we wanted to show it off.
It's about even, but it is pretty stylish. I have to wait for this guy to throw a bomb so that he doesn't kill the green enemy, because we need the green guy to push us onto this railing, and we just T-rod up to the second floor. And at the end of the dash, it is it takes less time getting hit than it does to do a dash slide, like cancel the dash. So we usually want to get hit at the end of our dashes. Yeah, that trick is human possible, but it's just not worth it ever.
Yeah, not RTA viable or worth it.
Good luck with that. This room, all the bosses you can manipulate independent from RNG. It's just about your placement in the room. So I just walk around to get him to have the fastest cycle, because in between him coming out and being vulnerable, he moves around in a painting, and I want to reduce his travel time in the painting. So we got the shortest cycles there.
Alright, now we're in the more faster paced part of the run.
You say that there's a cutscene right here into another
Yeah,
cutscene.
just skip it.
We need to skip this one, and then we're in another cutscene.
After this cutscene.
Do you want to explain a bit about Lorule?
So Lorule, geographically, it's split up. There's just like giant ravines in between a bunch of sections of the map. And the game basically makes you have to go between Lorule and Hyrule to get to the dungeons. Okay, yeah, we'll see that throughout. There's a few things we can do to minimize going through worlds, like between Turtle Rock or Dark Palace and Turtle Rock later.
Yeah, we also get this weather vane here to warp between dungeons in Lorule instead of walking all the way and going to Hyrule and stuff.
Yeah.
And we have to get one more. And then our first, well, not our first dungeon actually. A 3-minute auto-scroller, and then our first dungeon. That dash in between the trees, normally people don't do it because it's like pixel precise. They usually wait until they're in between the trees with just walking, and then start the dash. We can start it earlier.
And once again, we're going to use that TAS mountain vein. Very useful.
Yeah. You want to explain bridge?
Yeah. So usually, you actually have to do 2 different auto-scrollers to get, or I think it's another auto-scroller. Yeah, you have to do another one. But instead we just do this fire rod boost and hook shot across, and we skip that first part. You're not meant to be able to get across that bridge that way.
Yeah, usually runners go up with their fire rod boost because there's a pole there to catch you, so you don't go too far. But I learned that you can go on the bottom side and save a hook shot. It saves a couple seconds.
Yeah.
And then I make a little art piece in the bottom right for later. Whoa. And in this room, you want to merge as little as possible. That's why we tornado rod up there, because it pauses the game for half a second, or a second, I guess. And that allows us to get to the cycles quicker later, because this whole room's on like one big cycle. So we don't want to merge anywhere. And there was another merge skip.
And here comes the quick equip spam. He's gonna start not pressing the button and you'll hear it.
Yeah, we're pressing too fast for the scrolling thing on the screen to go. So I stopped pressing it there. And it still scrolls for a while. And if you press it long enough, actually, and get far enough ahead, it starts going backwards, which I thought was kind of interesting. Now we're in Ice Ruins. And at the beginning of the dungeon, you fire out of the side so that you don't run into it. And yeah, do you want to explain?
Yeah, so we're gonna go on a platform and move as during the room transition to get in the wall, and then we dash over this gap, go on top of a wall, and you can just precisely fall through all the rooms, do it a certain way. There it is. Fall straight down to the boss, and then the boss just dies in 2 hits for some reason. It's pretty strange.
And it's faster to be as high as possible there, even though you get hit a little by the blocks. Split.
Oh my god.
That was a 40.
Just keep that split.
It's faster to go high so that you get on top of the blocks faster because they have higher traction than the ice, so you can get to full speed faster. And so far, every dungeon's been pretty much the same as RTA, except for Hera, the Dark Palace, and I think almost every dungeon after Dark Palace have different routes, just by a little bit though.
But first, to get to Dark Palace, we have to go through the maze. Well, you're supposed to.
Yeah.
But we're gonna do a maze skip.
And we're gonna do a maze cutscene skip.
Yep.
Normally people just walk into the cutscene because it doesn't lose a lot of time. And the only way to skip it is by merging past the whole cutscene trigger. But the problem with that is that there's still a trigger for when you exit, but we skip it on the way out, and I'll talk more about it.
I don't really know how that works, to be honest, but the enemy, the Snapdragon, you run into it, and it pushes you a little bit horizontally, and you gain a little height from bonking the wall, and you can get on that railing, allowing you to skip most of the maze.
Yeah. There we also get hit by the bomb because we don't need health, and getting hit it pushes us up more, so it's faster. And then we just, for this pretty much whole dungeon, our fastest strategy is to pull the bombs as early as possible, so they blow up sooner. And there's also a lot of cutscene succession skips, I believe they're called, where if you start a cutscene of breaking something or hitting a switch, and then exit the room at the same time, it overwrites the cutscene, and we do that for almost every short cutscene. There we placed a bomb, and it was supposed to have a cutscene that looks like this one with the hammer. But since we exited the room, it skips that whole thing.
Yeah, he exits the room as it blows up, like the same frame. And
Yeah,
Dark Palace, like, you would think it wouldn't save that much time because this dungeon doesn't have a huge skip, but this actually saves a lot of time over the regular run because of that.
And the room before this, you're supposed to merge on the things and have a bomb blow up the switch. You can just walk through it while it's spinning. Here we do another cutscene skip.
Nice slide. Normally runners will distinguish that light right there just so they can see the ground. That's how the game intends you to do it, but TAS can just walk on it. They don't need to see it.
Yeah. In this section, also there's a switch on the left that you kind of saw. You're supposed to hit that with Ice Rod before going in this room, but I figured that's actually slower than going in this room right away. Because we want to skip all the cutscenes. So we go top to bottom in this room, that we can hit the bottom switch last, or yeah, bottom switch last, so that we're closer to the room exit, so we can skip the boss key chest cutscene. And then after this cutscene, there's a little gate opening cutscene, but since we opened the door already, we can go through the little room transition and skip the purple spike thing with crystals, like gate opening cutscene, as
Yeah.
well as the boss key chest cutscene, and it saves around 8 seconds.
Very nice. So we're half a heart here, and we're gonna need to get some hearts during the fight.
Yeah, we need 1.5 hearts for the next, like to get to through Turtle Rock. So I'm gonna, during his like vulnerability phase, I'm gonna manipulate some hearts from the pots. And we damage tank the bite so we can keep on hitting him. And we finish him off pretty quick.
I'm ready to split this time.
Alright. Also, the paintings in Lorule, you can hit them from the side, which is just a small optimization. You only use it in this dungeon in Skullwoods.
Pretty good split.
And you're about to see the part 2 of the maze cutscene skip. Normally there's a little cutscene trigger on the bridge or close to it if you touch the floor, but if you don't touch the floor, you get to skip the cutscene. Like there's 2 cutscene triggers that activate the same cutscene on the left and the right side, and we dodge the one on the right side with this little out of bounds movement. I learned that you can keep your dash from the stairs to the out of bounds. It was thought to be a dash slide only, but I learned you just don't have to do dash slide. And then we merge there to skip the cutscene trigger on the left.
And here's avoiding a warp to Hyrule and back into Lorule here. Just doing a fire rod to get across to rock. Definitely not intended.
Yeah.
And then here we're gonna use a animation storage. So if we swim into a place where Link can jump out of the water, he can store his jumping out animation. So right here, stored it and jumps up, allowing us to tornado rod and skip saving the turtles. Saves a minute or a minute 30 or something.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's very useful.
Here we're quick equipping, and then we do a little dash slide. It saves quite a bit of time. And in this room, you have to kill all the Wizrobes, and the fastest RTA is to Ice Rod. And we do that, but we do it 2 Ice Rods on the top Wizrobe before the cutscene ends. And that saves a decent amount of time.
I love that part. It looks like you only did 1 ice rod.
Yeah. And then here, normally you can't dash the whole way, but we made it fast enough so that we can skip past the fire rod, the fire bar, and we don't run into it with the dash, and then we start dashing right away on the second platform, and then we do the old boss key skip because it saves, I'd say, a couple seconds, 5 or so maybe.
Yeah, over setting up for that wizard. We got the first phase of Phoenix.
I break a pot with my sword beam there for later, so I can get to the painting faster after it spawns. And usually runners have a bomb here, but the bomb gave me bad RNG with the turtle, and he went back in his shell and spun around and stuff. So I sword him the whole way, and I stun him a couple times. I actually learned that you can stun him by getting him to bite the little lava pillar if it's frozen from just a random playthrough on Twitch. And then we hit him with the ice rod to get him to jump back, so we can keep hitting him, and he still doesn't go in his shell. It saves a lot of time, because we don't have to wait for any long attacks.
Yeah, I did not know you could do that with the frozen lava pillar thing.
And we can get to the painting earlier, because we don't have to break the pot. Nice.
Oh, and in this dungeon, we're gonna use ice rod clips a lot, and basically with a quick equip, you can fall under it, and it gains.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that.
And this.
And that.
This is a new strat I've figured out. You can just... It's hard to explain, but you clip into the railing with the first ice rod clip, and then you're close enough to the water so that you can clip into the right wall, and it pushes you down, so you just dash in. Saves around 5 seconds from RTA. The one at the beginning before the dungeon barely saves anything. And then, yeah, there's a lot of tricks here. That's called a hook shot hang. You can just hook shot in the air.
There's a dash in between animations, 1 frame.
Yeah. Ice rod clip basically works because by quick equipping it, you're able to get under the iceberg thing as it's falling, and when it touches the water, it gets a big hitbox, a collision box, and it pushes you through walls. And this Swamp Palace actually beats the Swamp Palace TAS.
Yeah.
That's been made by maybe like 0.3. Another thing, normally you're supposed to do Desert Palace after Thieves Hideout, but you may notice on the splits it says Desert Palace next. Thieves Hideout gives you the Sand Rod because you need the Sand Rod to complete the dungeon, like go through the dungeon and solve all the puzzles. But in this run we don't go through the dungeon and solve all the puzzles, so we don't need the Sand Rod, so we do Thieves last.
And yeah, so to skip Desert Palace, we're gonna use basically everything we've talked about, or many of the tricks we've talked about before in the run. First, we're gonna do an ice rod clip, and then we're gonna do a fire rod boost, and then a dash slide. So you'll see that. Fire rod boost.
And the reason he keeps his dash after this is just precise positioning. Usually after a drop, he's not supposed to keep his dash, but sometimes he does. And hitting the top pillar there, going a bit high, starts his forward momentum faster. If you do it without touching the wall at the top, he just falls down for like a second, and it loses a lot of time. And they put the painting in the overworld.
Okay, that
was like 20 seconds late.
I'm just gonna undo it, man.
You're entranced by the run.
I know, dude. It's so fun to watch. And the low route. Did you explain that? The Irene Bell?
Yeah, we want to do desert as late as we can without losing a lot of time. So we do it right now, because if Irene gets back on her broom, she's a sage and she gets trapped and blah blah blah. But if we save her from desert, she gets back on her broom, and every time we use her to warp, she has more text boxes than the broom, because the broom just says nothing. Or it says ... in the text box. But Irene has some like conversations with you sometimes, so we don't want her. In this first room, usually you're supposed to just, in this room right here, you're supposed to hit the mummy and then wait for the fire bar to pass. But if we ice rod quickly, we can get rid of the fire bar so we don't have to wait for it. And then we just walk around the enemies instead of hitting them.
Nice dash. Cancel. Do you want to talk about how the lamp?
Yeah. Right here, you see me equip the lantern or the lamp, and I learned that it changes RNG. So I did this room, and then I did it without lamp just to like see if it would look cool, and the enemy pattern was different. And then it kind of occurred to me that lamp changes RNG. Just having it out, I don't know whether it's the flame pattern or anything, or it's the actual like having an object on Link that has RNG to it, but one of them does. So I use the lamp to manipulate RNG throughout the run after this point. And we do perfect quick equip cancels on the hammer. And it doesn't even look like it's hitting, which is kind of funny.
And then in this next room, if you're playing normally, you are meant to merge across by using statues on the buttons. But speedrunners usually they just put a statue on one of the left buttons and tornado rod up. We go on the right side here, as it allows us to skip a merge by just dropping up on the right there. Yeah.
There's two little platforms that come out, and we take the bottom one, which is gotten by pushing a statue onto one of the right switches, and that allows us to just walk past.
In that room, we manipulated the hand to be right above the button, and then we merged onto that platform thing to make him fall earlier, because he falls when you merge. He tries to grab you.
This is just a clean party room.
Yeah, very clean.
You just have to kill all the enemies, and the Moldorms ran into my spin slash. Here I need a heart because we're going to do some respawn abuse. And I go to the bottom platform to set my spawn there, so when I fall off, I can just walk through. Skip the puzzle there. And with these guys, the little mummies, you have to light them on fire. You don't have to, but it is a lot faster too. So we hit both of them with the same lamp, and then spin slash to one-shot them. You want to explain this?
Oh yeah, so you throw the eye, if you throw the eye against the pedestal without actually putting it in, just like throw it against it, pick it back up, and try to put it in the pedestal. It allows you to press the A button right before it actually goes in the pedestal, but it still counts as being in the pedestal. So it allows us to take the eye back and essentially duplicate it, and then we can just put that one on the left side, and it skips doing that entire room and like going outside the dungeon, trying to find the eye and getting it all the way back. So it saves a lot of time.
Yeah. This is one of the oldest tricks in the book. It was found like the day of the game's release, or the day before even. And you can just tornado rod, and the boss pushes you right through the wall into the into the end of the fight loading zone. You can just get the painting. You can get it from the side there and save a little bit of walking.
A nice sub hour Skullwoods.
Yep. And we're gonna do Thieves last because the ending cutscene of Thieves, you're never supposed to be able to do Thieves last because it gives you one of the items that you need to do another dungeon, but we do that dungeon before, so we don't need the item. And we do Thieves last because the cutscene to give you the item overwrites a big like ending cutscene to give you the Triforce of Courage. So it saves a lot of time because that cutscene is very long.
Yep.
And in these little text box things where you have to answer something, there's like a cooldown before you can actually press A on it. And that's why I'm able to move around my answer without losing time.
And this next room, it's the longest room in the game, the speedrun, and there's been a time save earlier in the year by Ouija-chan to save about 16-17 seconds. But it's still a really long room. So, but during the TAS, there was actually new time saves found after it, which we will see in many new ways. We use one specific way, found like a week ago or maybe 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. At the beginning of pushing the first gargoyle to the switch, I hesitate a bit. It's to dodge an arrow so that I don't take damage, because taking damage there loses a couple frames. And we have to hit these switches to open the door for later when we guide the thief girl through.
So what Ouija-chan found is you can just use one statue here instead of two. You time it right, you can get the statue on top of that and get under this on the ceiling on the bottom floor.
Yeah,
and
and we put a bomb here instead of ice rotting to skip the cutscene of the switch, but it still freezes us in place for a little bit. But overall, it saves time.
This is mini boss skip. Get this key without activating the mini boss. Then go around the cutscene. Later, mini boss activator thing.
Yeah, and you can start a dash mid-air sometimes if you're not falling a big distance. So that's why I was able to do that. And now we're guiding Thief Girl around, and she makes it so we can't take optimal lines, unfortunately. Because she just stops following you. And go ahead.
She's also just the reason this dungeon is the longest one in the run.
This room you have to kill all them. And bowing is faster than going up to them and hitting them. After 2 spin slashes. Thief Girl as well. If you want her to get her, if you want to get her to stand on a switch for a puzzle or something, and the switches are far away, you can start a dash, and that just makes her stop following you instantly. We do it there to make her stop right in front of this bridge as well, so that she's not all the way at the bottom. I forgot to mention this earlier, but on water, it's faster to do a frame perfect A press before falling in for TAS. And it makes it so you don't fall in right away, and you keep some of your momentum and do a little slide on top of the water before falling in, and that just saves a little bit of time. So every time I go in water, you're gonna see that, or most of the times, I guess.
Yeah, and the reason we can't just do that the entire time is, well, one, he has to fall in the water for the last bit to get back out, but also it's like slows down after the first one too much, so it makes faster after that.
It's like kind of like ice physics without pressing a direction. And you're gonna see bow shots right before a enemy activation trigger, just so we don't lose time pulling out the bow. And here we dash slide instead of merging around to activate the button. It saves a couple seconds. And then we put bombs here to kill the other guy while we're killing the guy on the right. But side effect of that is we are out of magic for the next part, where we have to merge, usually in Tornado Rod. So I had to get a bit crafty. Yeah, if you Tornado Rod there, you just get pushed on to the floor.
Very
it saves
convenient.
having to merge around. I think it's about even with the regular strat. Yeah.
Good merge strat.
Yeah. Also for this boss, there's like a little stun lock at the beginning that we do. By just hitting him at the right time, we can hit him a lot more than normal. It doesn't, I don't even think it saves time, but it just looks cooler.
And we're using the hammer on him.
Yeah.
Because it does, I forget how much, it's either 2 times or 4 times more damage than the sword. For some reason. And it also hits twice if you get a full swing on him. So yeah, it just destroys him in like 4 or 5 hits, full hits.
Don't forget the split this time.
Yep. And we got the nice Thief Grill lock for like 30 seconds.
Yeah. I don't think this dungeon saves too much time. Because it's mostly just walking around with Thief Girl. There's only like 2 tricks in the entire dungeon. Oh, I stand corrected.
Yeah, still a pretty good amount. And trial skip is going to go by really fast. So in Lorule Castle, you're meant to do these 4 trials, and it takes a lot of time, like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I think, if you're speedrunning. So we have to do, we skip it, and you'll see it.
Yeah. That little cutscene where you get the sand rod is the one that skips the Triforce getting cutscene, and that's also why the camera looks different during that, because it's supposed to like spin around you as you walk up a spiral staircase. And also, here you might know I have my lantern out, and it's to get hearts from the first mini-boss. And in that dash that I just did, I pan the camera up, and it stops the Hinox from throwing bombs at you if you pan the camera up for some reason. So I can start my dash earlier. And in this fight, I want to heal to full health to save magic earlier, so I don't have to use my bow and I can use sword beams. So we get full hearts from the pots while hitting him, so we don't lose any time, and we get full health. There, unfortunately, you have to hit him, the little enemy, or else he runs into you. Here as well, I pan the camera down, so I have better enemy spawns. And then we throw bomb really early compared to normal, and we sword beam that switch, and sword beam this switch. Then we do another bounce with the bomb. It saves a ton of time. Split.
Not yet. It's
Not yet. Oh, you're right. You're right. It saves a ton of time doing it that way.
And here you go. Here's the final boss, Yuganon.
The final boss. The strat with Yuganon, we just want to hit him as much as possible. So I get pretty greedy. Yeah. And you might see me shoot him with bow a couple times. That's usually because I'm too far away. And there I actually choose not to hit him so that we get the spear throw attack, trident throw. And he's like stunned for a long while, so we can get a ton of hits on him. And we just keep on hitting him and getting the spear throw attack. Usually he does a little laser attack that takes 8 seconds where he disappears. But if I use bow on him a couple times when he's at the bottom of the screen, he doesn't do it. Like, I just manipulate him to not do the long attack. And then we have to play tennis.
But very fast.
Yeah.
By moving towards him while hitting it, while it comes back to Link.
Yeah, it cuts out some travel time from the tennis. So you can play tennis faster, and I think it saves a few seconds.
Yeah.
And now we have to use the bow of light to shoot him. And normally you shoot him in the front, and then you unmerge, shoot him in the back. we do that, but we get hit and it auto unmerges us, and it saves having to unmerge. It saves a couple seconds, I think. And we can't do that twice there, or else we'll die. And then we walk on the star pattern to avoid the butterflies here.
Little cheat code.
Yeah, we have to go back and forth though, or else they hit us. And then we sword slash to look cool.
It's funny tennis.
Yeah, you can kind of see the ball going behind him before he hits it back. Just because he... Oh, also here we only have to shoot him once because we like manipulate him to start walking away or something. I don't really know how it works, but if you're far enough away and you unmerge while the arrow's going, he turns around and it hits him when it's not supposed to. I was saying in the tennis part, you can see them going through him. It's because he has like a cooldown on when he can hit the ball back to you. And it expires like right as the ball's about to exit his hitbox. Then we go halfway across and start walking right so that we don't have to wait for the bow or the arrow to travel all the way around the stadium. And since he's so far, we have to bow shot there. It saves a few seconds. Then we just
Now-
have a little cutscene left.
Yep.
Do you want to explain the movement?
Yeah, so in this last part, we always just thought it's faster to run straight down the middle. But Thunderbolt recently figured out that it saves about 7 frames to walk on the right side. Or maybe it's just something, I don't know. Yeah, pretty cool. So you see him walk on the right, and you're trying to get as far away from Zelda as possible, so diagonally is the furthest. So I
Yeah.
think it makes her walk faster.
It doesn't matter if you walk straight diagonal or right and then forward there. I notice you just get the same spawn. Get ready to final time.
There it is.
Boom! At 1:12:19.
Very
Very cool.
nice.
Thank you to Skitten for helping route Swamp, Hera, find some cool tricks like the Fire Rod boost in Eastern, and the odd trial skip where you walk off and sword slash up. I didn't really have time to explain it, but that was probably the hardest part of the run to TAS. It's very, very precise.
Yeah. It was fun being the pacer, finding hard stuff that no one will do in RTA probably.
Yeah. Anything you want to say?
I mean, shout out Pancake. He spent like the last 2 months on this. What did you say? He's like 200 hours.
Yeah, I think
That's
it's in
crazy.
between 1 and 200.
That's crazy.
Thank you.
Like 260,000 frames. A
Yeah,
lot.
this whole thing was 265,000 or 255,000. I don't know, but what we're watching right now is 266,000. Like until the final end of the cutscene.
And you had no prior tasking knowledge really, or like
Yeah.
hasn't really tasked anything else, so very impressive.
And thank you to the whole community for finding the general route and the tricks and everything and equip cancels. Very helpful.
Do you say I can unpause it?
Oh, it doesn't even pause.
You sure?
Is it paused? No.
Okay. We'll watch the
If
credits.
you click on stop movie, you can get control.
Oh, okay. Oh, here it is. Hold up. A little technical difficulty. Yeah, give me a second.
He wants to show off a little credits thing. We have to do a thing.
Playback stopped.
You can edit the splits in post. Surely.
Right now?
No, in like post editing. for the
I'll see
video.
what I can do.
Just Photoshop like a time on it.
Okay.
So, what's your favorite cereal?
I'm a Rice Krispies guy. What about you?
Really? That's the first time hearing of this.
Yeah,
I actually enjoy Honey Nut Cheerios the most, I think.
I respect that. That's like at least A tier.
How do I close the prediction? I think you're gonna have to do it. I don't know how.
Okay.
Oh wait, report rewards. Here we go. Nope, that's the actual report button. These are all the people we saved because we're so generous, and we did not see most of them, I'll say. Didn't see this guy at all. Except when we saved him. Didn't see the guy on the bottom there.
Yeah.
Impa just made us wait. She's probably the worst character in the game. Just makes us wait for 15 seconds.
Thief Girl.
Thief Girl. Thief Girl we do have to save, but she's not a painting. She's like one of the only ones. I think she's just too hungry to save herself. That's what she says.
Something like that.
All these characters that we never saw. Wow.
Still
Makes me
strong.
nostalgic. We did it.
I'm cheering up. So in this cutscene, you at the last second you can see a sword slash in the little dirt road. Like as the painting disappears. So see if I can do it right now. Right there.
Oh, what the heck?
It's pretty cool. Found out by Sahir, by the way.
Shut up.
Shout out Sahir.
Trying to get him back to running. Shut him up one more time, just in case.
Shout out everybody.
Yeah, shout out everybody in the community for finding all the tricks.
Oh, my we never saw.
I think I only found a few. There was like Swamp and Eastern and just like minor time saves, and the cutscene skips in dark. Whoa, Zelda. We never saw her either. Except the end.
Little Ravio on the bottom left.
Oh, I've never seen that. Here's the real reason we're watching. For the copyright.
Yep.
So that we don't get sued.
No problem, Nint. Oh, he's got to put back the Master Sword. He's done. He's done this quest.
Oh.
Means we finished the game.
Well, it was a quick journey, but it was worth it.
A peaceful bird noise. Little area.
Alright, I guess there's nothing left.
Yeah.
How many rupees do we get? I wonder.
What do you think?
I wonder if it shows us.
Guess 502.
I'm gonna guess 563.
Oh, closer. Oh, we died
Oh,
once. I think that's
died?
it. There's nothing
Oh,
else,
no.
right? Oh my god!
Yeah.
Hero mode!
What is that?
Oh my god! What the hell? What's
What?
going on? Oh my god, hero mode. Are you serious right now? Hero mode, what? You are now able to play in hero mode? I just got hero mode! We got hero mode, boys! Ah! What? Hero mode, what is this? 10,000 rupees? Hero mode, thank you so much for the 10,000 rupees. Thanks. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, hero mode. Now
That
I
was
feel
the-
complete. I feel complete
Yeah.
now.
That's the real reward for beating the TAS.